Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime stories just like this. They were told to stop fighting, that the evidence was solid, that the verdict was final, that the system had already spoken. For the public, the story ended with a headline and a sentence. For the courts, it ended with paperwork and a closed file. But for the people at the center of these cases, life didn't end. It narrowed, it slowed, and then it was taken away, 1 year at a time. Tonight, this is not just a story about mistakes. It is a story about innocent people who lost decades of their lives before the truth finally emerged. Years spent waiting, years spent hoping, years spent knowing something was wrong, but having no power to prove it. And as this story unfolds, one question will echo again and again. If the truth was always there, why did it take so long to matter? This story is told to slow certainty, not to accuse recklessly, not to rewrite history for entertainment, but to examine how systems built to protect justice can sometimes protect conclusions instead. Because wrongful convictions don't usually happen because no one cares. They happen because everyone is certain. Certainly they were right. Certainly the evidence was enough. The case was closed. Every innocent person who lost decades reminds us of something uncomfortable. Justice is not guaranteed by good intentions. It must be questioned, again and again. Every story begins with a moment that changes everything. A crime that shocks a neighborhood. A tragedy that dominates the news. A loss that demands answers. Communities want reassurance. Leaders want resolution. Investigators want results. In these moments, uncertainty feels dangerous. The longer questions remain unanswered, the more pressure builds to provide certainty, any certainty. And that pressure shapes everything that follows. When a suspect appears, the chaos begins to settle. Someone was nearby. Someone didn't fit in. Someone had a past. Once attention locks onto one person, the investigation subtly shifts. Instead of asking, "What happened?" the system begins asking, "How do we prove this?" Alternative leads are quietly deprioritized. Contradictions become inconveniences. From this point on, innocence becomes something the suspect must prove, rather than something the system must disprove. Small details begin to carry enormous weight. A nervous reaction. An unclear statement. A decision that looks strange in hindsight. Neutral facts are reframed as suspicious. Ordinary behavior is reinterpreted as motive. And the more these assumptions are repeated, the more factual they feel. This is how a narrative forms, not through lies, but through selective certainty. Confessions are powerful. They end investigations. They persuade juries. They silence doubt. But many innocent people confess for reasons that have nothing to do with guilt. Exhaustion, fear, confusion, belief that honesty will bring relief. Interrogations stretch for hours. Questions repeat. Pressure builds. And once a confession exists, even flawed ones become anchors. Everything else bends to support them. Years later, reviews often reveal confessions filled with inaccuracies, details that don't match reality. But by then, decades may already be gone. In many wrongful convictions, the truth was never hidden. It was documented, logged, filed. Witnesses contradicted timelines. Physical evidence raised doubts. Reports questioned conclusions. But juries never saw them. Not because they didn't exist, but because they complicated the story. Ignored evidence doesn't disappear. It waits. While cases sat frozen, life moved on without them. Children learned to speak, walk, and grow without a parent. Parents aged and passed away. Opportunities vanished. Inside prison walls, time became something to survive. Education was limited. Dreams were postponed. Identity slowly eroded. Hope became both a lifeline and a burden. Appeals were filed. Motions were denied. Years passed. Procedural rules outweighed factual innocence. Even when new evidence surfaced, it was often dismissed as too late. The truth existed, but the door was closed. Almost every exoneration begins quietly. A journalist reopens a file. A lawyer notices a contradiction. New technology tests old evidence. Suddenly, certainty begins to fracture. Timelines collapse. Witness accounts change. Science speaks clearly. The story the public believed begins to unravel. Admitting errors is difficult. Reversing convictions threatens reputations. Institutions resist. Appeals stall. Arguments repeat. Even when innocence becomes undeniable, freedom is delayed. Exoneration is quiet. No celebration restores lost decades. No apology for repairing stolen time. Freedom feels unfamiliar. The world has changed. Technology is new. Faces are older or gone. Years cannot be replaced. Compensation cannot restore life. What was taken was more than freedom. It was trust, identity, time. These stories are not rare. They are quiet. They live in archives, dismissed motions, forgotten files. They remind us that truth does not always win quickly. Sometimes it waits decades. The most disturbing part isn't how long the truth took to emerge. It's how easily it was ignored. And the real question isn't whether the system can make mistakes. It's whether I am willing to correct them. Because somewhere right now, someone innocent is still waiting. Subscribe for more shocking true crime stories that defy belief. Like, share, and comment if you believe the truth can be hidden in plain sight.